Hey, how's it going? I'm Leif Ramsey, and by day I tell other people's stories, and tonight I'll tell one of mine. So it started back in 2005. There was a group of us that decided that we were going to do something crazy, which is we were going to drive from Colorado down to Argentina in a van. And the van that you see right here is a GMC conversion van, which is the van that we got for our trip. We had a few problems with that van. There were 7 of us. Here's 6 pictured. I'm on the right. And we started driving from Colorado. We drove into Mexico, and then down through Mexico. We did a little bit of climbing along the way, and we stopped at some waterfalls in southern Mexico and continued on. By the time we got to Belize, the mosquitoes were so intense that they would bite you right through your shirt and leave blood on your shirt. And we were camping out most of the time. We didn't stay at hostels, we didn't stay at hotels, we just sort of threw down sleeping bags by the side of the road as we went. So that was our journey through Central America. By the time we got down to Panama, there's this spot called the Darien Gap. The Darien Gap is an area that you can't drive across, so we put our van on a container ship and shipped it from Panama City down to Guayaquil, Ecuador. And we flew, the group of us, after we had shipped off our van, flew to the mountains of Ecuador into Quito, and we had about a week's time that we were in the mountains. And during that time, we flew in, we lived through mosquitoes and high intensity humidity and sweating and miserableness through most of Central America. And so we were super happy to be in Quito because the climate was very temperate. During the day it was like in the high 60s, maybe 70. At night it would cool off and it felt like heaven to us. One of the towns that we went to in the mountains there was a town called Riobamba, and it's a little ways south of Quito. And in Riobamba, we figured we'd just explore. Close to Riobamba is a mountain, and it's actually, I believe it's the tallest in Ecuador, and it's over 16,000 feet. You see a little bit of the mountain range in the background. This is actually one of the prominent churches there in Riobamba. And this mountain is called Chimborazo. And we decided, hey, we've got some time here in Riobamba. Why don't we see if we can go climb the mountain? The mountain's a little ways out of town, and we found out that you could take a bus out there. So we hopped on one of the local buses and rode it out to the mountain, and we figured that we would be gone for maybe part of the day. So we took some supplies. I took 3 oranges and a backpack and no water. And some of the other guys, one of them, David, had flip-flops, and we had, some pants on and stuff. And we decided, what we'll do is we'll just ride the bus out, and then when we get to kind of the high point where the bus crosses this mountain range, we'll hop off, and we'll just start hiking up the hillside and just see where we get. I mean, maybe we'll get up to the snow, maybe we'll keep going, who knows. Almost immediately when we got off the bus, we decided that the best idea would be to split. Half the group decided that they would go up one kind of ridge, and the other half decided that they would go up another ridge. I was with 3 counting myself. And what we didn't know as well was that the mountain was actually sacred, and that the area that we were in by the locals was considered a sacred spot, like a holy spot. And they didn't really like folks, Americans, coming and just trampling through their area. We look back, and we've been hiking for maybe about an hour now. We look back and we see this 3 figures coming up the hillside after us. And we can tell by their dress and so forth that they're probably locals, from the Indian people there. And we see that they're gaining on us really quickly. And we're probably at about 12,000 feet. And so our hiking ability, we were young men, and we felt like we were doing well, but they gained on us very quickly. And when they caught up to us, they kind of flagged us down and they started talking to us in Spanish. And our side of the group didn't speak Spanish very well. The other half were the Spanish speakers that had gone up the other ridge. And so we knew a little bit, and we knew that they were very upset that we were there, and that they wanted us to go back with them. And so we looked at each other and we're like, there's no way that we're going back with these guys. So we like kind of gave a signal, and then we started running down the hillside. I was in the front of that group, and after about 10 minutes or so, I look back and I see that my friends have stopped, my other two friends. And like the folks are yelling at them, and they've caught up with them, and I decided to continue going. Like it was flight or fight, and I flew away from there. So what began was a 19-mile overland journey, which during part of that journey, most of the time I was trying to avoid people, and I finally I was headed towards Riobamba. I could see it down in the distance, and I was just cutting across land. And I came into this section of farms, and there's these very high banks on either side, and out from one side of the banks comes this dog, just comes upon me, and I actually frightened the dog first, and it attacks my leg, and it's ripping my pants, and I'm kicking it back, and I just yell at it at the top of my lungs and kick, and then run, and the dog, I don't know, kind of freaks out, and so it doesn't follow me once I clear that field. And so I continue across overland, and I'm smart. I know I only have 3 oranges, so I've eaten 1 orange every hour, right? And I've saved the peels, because I'm I might have to eat these peels, you know? And I have no water, so I'm super thirsty. And I'm coming down into where there's more kind of homes and villages and that type of thing. It's starting to get a little bit more populated. And there's this irrigation ditch, and it's probably 2 o'clock in the afternoon now, middle of the day, and I'm pretty parched. And so I look at the water of this irrigation ditch, and I decide, you know what, I could probably get really sick from this water. But also, if I don't drink this water, I might pass out or die or something. So I have this debate in my head, I drink the water. I feel great after I drink the water, fantastic, rehydrated, ready to go. Keep walking, and I realize I'm coming into the backside of this village. And to this point, I've avoided human contact. I've seen people from a distance, but I'm still a little freaked out. And I walk into this village, and folks are like, hey, where did you come from? They're asking me this in Spanish, and I knew just enough. And I'm like, from the mountain. And they're like, what? From the mountain? And they just looked at me like I was crazy. So I continued walking, and I actually came to a main roadway, and instead of hitchhiking, I felt like I would, I don't know, at this point I'd been walking for the good part of the day, and I knew I was getting close to Riobamba, so my pride forced me to continue walking down the road, and I felt pretty awesome, actually. Folks were friendly to me now, and I was on this mission to get back to town. Just as it was getting dark, I walked into town, sore, super sore, especially since the last chunk of the day, the last maybe 12 miles was on pavement. I walk into town, and I come to the hostel, and it's just after sunset, dark, and walk into where we were staying. And all of my friends were there. They'd all made it back. The whole group was there, and they're like, where were you? Thank you.